I've been watching, obviously, other podcasts. For an example, SMWX, Sizwe Bofu, Wash. I love his podcast, actually, love it. I follow him a lot. I've watched like so many podcasts, even the news. And there's this new narrative too, still on the SA matter. There's this new narrative that fucks with me, man. This narrative fucks with me. Hey bro, this new narrative about South Africa, it just messes me up. But anyway, so there's this new narrative, Helen Zille, I saw her on Podcast and Chill. She said this. And I also saw Prince Mashele too in SMWX also insinuating this narrative. I hate this narrative, I'm going to tell you why. What is the narrative? So there is this new thing that white people came to South Africa the same way as black people. So they took the land from, the argument is that black people took the land from the Khoi and the San people, right? Also, this was Helen Zille, by the way, in Podcast and Chill. And it was so weird that no one countered that, by the way. And Prince Mashele says the same thing too on SMWX. He says, he came in and said somewhat of the similar thing as Helen Zille in relation to how like white South Africans are as South African as any other black person, right? Who found the Khoi and the San people in South Africa. Okay, now, I don't have a problem with white South Africans being obviously just South African like anyone, like me or anyone else. That's fine. But this narrative seems to, because what they try to do when they say these things, especially Helen Zille, it seems to try and undermine or lessen the impact of apartheid in South Africa. Yo, bruh, apartheid masimba. There's just no way around it. Like, just stop right there. There's no way around it. So they try to create this narrative that black people came into South Africa and found Khoi and the San people, and then obviously they took their land, right? The same way as white people came to South Africa to do the same thing. So they are trying to equate that to apartheid. That's the narrative, the new narrative that has been pushed. Okay, this is my argument, is my argument. Are Khoi and the San people not black people? Like, I'm trying to understand that. Are we saying Khoi and the San people are not black people? Because I feel like this perpetuates the same thing that's apartheid was trying to do to black people. To tell someone who's Khoisan, yo, you are Khoisan, you are not Zulu. Someone who's Sotho, yo, you are Soweto, you are not Zulu or Khoisan. Someone who's Tswana, yo, you are Tswana, you are not this. Because right now I feel like they are Africans as much as any other African could be African. Right? They are just a tribe, right, if you may, right, like any other African tribe. So if we were fighting amongst ourselves and having our own civil war, just like how in Europe they had World War I, World War II, all the fights that they had, their own civil wars, you don't have any Africans there trying to come in and fucking take on land in Europe. That's like trying to come in and literally steal land in Europe. You don't have that history of Africans oppressing Europeans in Europe. Like, you don't have that history. So this narrative of trying to demean, or not demean, but rather make apartheid less of a big thing or big of a deal is nonsense and is stupid. You cannot compare these things. You cannot compare. It's not. Europeans came into South Africa, found black people in their own different tribes and whatnot, and they oppressed them. And that's about it. And it shouldn't be compared to Africans fighting amongst themselves, fighting the Khoi and the San people, who I consider Africans and black. So I don't understand what is it with that narrative. They like to do these narrative things, of doing that. I'm just disappointed at Prince Mashele falling for that stupid argument of saying white people came into Africa, just like how the Nguni people, the Bantu people moved from the north and came to South Africa, found the Khoi and the San people. Yeah, we are the same people with the Khoi and the San people. We are all black and African. Yes, we had our own wars and our own fights, our civil things. That's us as Africans. So let's not equate as, like, it's almost like having a fight with your family members, and then you have the whole community or someone from next door coming into your home and then killing your mom, and then justifying, saying, oh, but you guys were already fighting in your house, you are already fighting with your mother, I just came to kill her. No, fuck it. Fuck it. No, I don't want to have that argument. That's narrative. It's a new narrative. I've seen a couple of even white people saying this type of shit. That's all, they came from the north and they took the land from the Khoisan, the same people. Yeah, we are the same people as them. And yeah, we had our own fights in Africa too. We're not denying that. Nobody's denying that we had our own fights in Africa too. Our civil wars as Africans, our tribal wars as Africans. We're not denying that. No one is denying that. But that's our thing. That's us. You also in Europe had your own fights. But you don't have any history of Africans coming there to fucking kill y'all and take your land. So let's just end that narrative. Fuck it. And then you had this stupid nigga, I don't know why this guy, Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan Tate. He comes in and fits into the same kind of narrative, and he says South Africa was built by white people and black people will not be anywhere if it was not for the whites, right? My question is, how would you know that we are not going to be anywhere if it was not for the whites? We don't know that. As far as I'm concerned, when they came in, they destabilized our own progress. That's how I feel, right? Right now, for an example, if someone is a millionaire, right? That someone is a millionaire, and then I come into their lives and I take over their $1 million business and I turn it into $1 billion, and then I say to them, you are never going to be a billionaire or have turned this business into $1 billion if it wasn't for me. The business became a $1 billion business because it was for me. How do you know? I was in my own progress. I was already a millionaire myself. I already done something myself, right? I already discovered some shit myself. I was already working on clothing myself. I was already building my own weapons. I was cooking food. I had my own homes and my own shit and my own way of living. How do you know I was never going to get there? How the fuck do you know I was never going to get there? So that narrative is nonsense. People came in, destabilized us, our own progress. Whether we are going to get there or not, is here or there, nobody knows, right? Nobody knows that, right? We were in our own progress. So I hate that narrative too. Like the Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate's brother. I saw him saying that. I'm thinking to myself, the fuck, bro? What the fuck is he talking about? Right? How do they know? Because Chinese people built China. Because at some point also, the Chinese people were oppressed by England too, right? And they even took what you call the city, just right outside of China. I'm forgetting now. Why am I forgetting the name of the city? Hong Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong. And they took Hong Kong, right? But fine. Chinese gained their freedom earlier than South Africans, for an example. And with their time, they were able to turn things around, of course, in a big way compared to us as South Africans, right? In a small space of time, they were able to achieve so many things, right? Chinese were able to achieve so many things in a small space of time. They built China, right? They didn't suffer from apartheid with like South Africans. They didn't get to that point, right? And they were able to take themselves out of poverty. I live in China. I should know better about that, right? But unfortunately for us as South Africans, the English and the Boers had onto our land for too long compared to them, right? And also they never let go of it anyway, even after we resolved and found our newly democratic republic, right? But they still have the land, they still have all these things, and we still have some of the issues that we have, right? So we will never know how our progress was going to turn out to be like, right? So other countries were able to do it by themselves, like China, as I'm saying. So this narrative that you need a certain kind of people to be able, specifically you need a European or something like that to be able to develop yourself, is so stupid and just poor argument, right? Especially on the basis of not knowing where the people gonna get. You don't know where Africa was gonna go if everything they went through didn't happen. Again, I don't wanna keep on fucking blaming these people for this, because also as Africans we deserve that, because we lost major wars, right? For losing you take your L. I don't want to keep on blaming and what's not, because that's another thing. That's what it is here, bro. It's either you eat one or you get eaten yourself. That's the game. So if we're gonna keep losing the way we are losing, like we are right now, not participating in any major thing, That is progress. Right now, the world is going to AI revolution. That's where people are. They're competing left and right, and we are nowhere to be found. And as long as that continues, you're always going to have issues, boy.